My name is Kayleen and I am a bow hunter and I am an avid archery fan. I'm here to talk to you today about how elevation and altitude affect your shot placement. When I'm talking about elevation, I'm referring to how the angles are when you're shooting your bow. Now you can get a rangefinder and that will definitely help. The higher end rangefinders, they will adjust for those different elevations in the shot, meaning you're angling your arrow up or you're angling your arrow straight or you're angling your arrow down based off of the mountains, based off the terrain around you. When I am referring to the altitude, I'm not talking about the same thing as I'm talking about elevation. When I'm talking about altitude, I'm talking about the differences that 3,000 feet above sea level make versus 10,000 feet above sea level when you're shooting your bow. So if you live at 3,000 feet and you get sighted in, you're hitting perfect on target at 3,000 feet, but then you're hunting elk in the high country and it's 95 or 10,000 feet above sea level, your bow is going to be shooting differently. Now, different poundage, it's going to affect differently. For me, I only shoot 53 pounds. That's what I'm hunting with. So I don't have the 80 pounds that men have. So my arrow automatically is not going as fast as somebody who's shooting 80 pounds. However, when I am shooting in the mountains, if I'm at 20 yards and I'm at 8,000, 9,000 feet above sea level, I am shooting 20 yards. Typically, I'm not going to notice the difference. But when I get to 30 yards is where I start to notice it. I will be slightly above target. Then at 40 yards, I am higher above target. And then if you get out to 100 yards, I could be 4 inches off. Now that is going to matter when it comes down to hunting season and if you hit or miss that elk based off of the altitude and adjusting for it. It is important that when you get to camp, you shoot your bow and make sure that nothing has changed and make sure that you're still shooting on target with the higher altitude. Why does it happen, you may ask? Well, there is a whole bunch of science that goes into it, and I am not a scientist. I just love bow hunting, and I know my bow and how I shoot on my bow and the differences that I see. Pay attention if you see any differences when you're shooting your bow at the different altitudes. You may not, or maybe you don't have a different altitude to practice at. Maybe you live in North Carolina, but you're going to be hunting in Utah. Then it's going to be very important that when you get there that you re-sight your bow in and you recheck it out. A lot of people miss that step and you can miss your elk over that. One of the reasons is the air density is a lot less when you're at the higher altitude, making your arrow fly faster. Other people also say that gravity has a big impact on it. Weather also has a really big impact. The humidity causes your strings to stretch differently. So know that if you are hunting and sighting in at 2 different places, 2 different altitudes, that you know the difference that your bow is making. Now, I've been rambling on about this, but for me, I want that elk and I don't want to miss it. So I hope that you also take it seriously and you check that different elevation, you check that different altitudes and how it affects your shot placement. Good luck out there.